Good morning, children. Welcome to the class. Today's date is 30th November 2020. As you know, we are currently doing lesson 8, the Western Desert. So in our previous classes, we have discussed the extent, the location of the Western Desert, and then we have discussed about the features of the Thar Desert, how the desert, how many days or how many years it took to form the Thar Desert. Then we have also learned the definition of sand dunes and oases. Then we have talked about the climate of the Thar Desert, how much it is hot, and how the sands become and sands make the area very hot, and during night how it cools down because of the sand, and why this desert does not have any rainfall. This Thar Desert does not have any rainfall. It is because there are no mountains or anything that can stop the rain-bearing west wind. So therefore, what happens is that the rain-bearing wind, it just passed away over the Thar Desert, and that is why there is no rainfall, and very little rainfall can be found in this region. And today we are going to learn the difficulties or the people of the Thar Desert, not only the people, the plants and animals, how they survive in this kind of climatic conditions, the difficulties they face. So the learning outcomes of today's class are to learn the difficult conditions in which the people of Thar Desert live, to identify Camel as the sheep of the desert, and to identify different plants and animals found in the Thar Desert. So let us start. How do living things survive in the difficult condition? Now, here there are two factors in this chapter, for which, not in this chapter, but there are two factors that affect the plants, animals and people in the Thar Desert. Number one is the Thar Desert is very, very hot. And the second is it receives little rain. Okay, hot. In the hot summer days, we feel very thirsty, so we require water. But here in the Thar Desert, though it is hot, but we are not going to find any water source for drinking. Therefore, the survival in these type of conditions or in these type of regions become very difficult for people as well as for animals and plants. So, as it is very hot, it is very difficult to survive. We cannot feel comfortable in the hot, and then it receives little rain, as we need much water to drink during the hot times or hot areas, so we are not going to find any source of water there. Now let us come to the plants. Now what kind of plants can be found in the desert areas? Thorny shrubs and bushes grow due to less rainfall. Now the structure and the formation of these plants are very much different from the areas that have rainfall, that receives rainfall. So these are very small shrubs. Shrubs are small, and bushes, they are not very big trees. They are very small shrubs or bushes, and they grow due to less rain. They cannot grow much bigger because they does not receive many rain. These plants can survive in very little water. Cacti or rock plants store a lot of water in their stems. These plants' leaves are needle-shaped, which prevents the loss of water from their leaves. So they have some features in the plants. Here you can see. I'm going to zoom it so that it becomes easy for you. Now this is a cacti. Now here you can see the leaves of the cacti are thorn type, right? So these are the stems, and here they store water which they can utilize it later on. And this is the rock plant. Now this rock plant, have you ever seen a plant growing from the rocks? No. We see plants growing from the soil, but in the desert area, this particular plant, this rock plants, there are various types of rock plants. So this particular kind of plants, they can grow on the rocks as well. So the cacti and the rock plants, they are very common in the desert area, especially in the Thar Desert. Now let us come to the animals. Few animals and birds are found in the Thar Desert. Camels, blackbucks, partridges, quails, and giant lizards. A variety of snakes like rock pythons and vipers are found in the desert. So, as we already know, due to the hot and humid due to the hot climatic conditions, very few animals and birds can be found in the Thar Desert. Now among them are the camels, which we know very well. Then here I have the picture of the black buck. You can see here, this is the black buck. Then partridges and quail. These are birds and they look very similar to each other. And then here we get the giant lizards and then variety of snakes. Now this is a viper snake. Here I have a picture of the viper snake. Now there is one interesting fact that Thar Desert is a home to around 25 different types of snakes. Just imagine. And snakes can be found in the hot areas. So they survive in the hot climatic areas. So approximately you can say 25 kinds of snakes are found in the Thar Desert. So among the animals and birds, snake plays a very important part of the Thar Desert. Now let us come to the camel. Camel, a unique desert animal. Now camel can stay without water and food for many days. It has a hump on its back to store fat. It has the long legs and padded feet that help it to walk easily on sand. People living in the desert use camels for traveling and transporting their goods. So the camel is called the sheep of the desert. You're not going to find the car or bikes in the desert area because of the sand. And so you are going to find only camels for the transportation and commuting. I mean, from traveling or transporting things, you are going to find only the camels. Therefore, camel serves a very important part in the desert area. And most importantly, camels can live without food and water for many days. Now, when they eat a lot. Altogether, they are going to eat a lot. And the hump is the part they used to have it at the back, no, like this, like a mountain. They used to have it on the back, right? In that hump, they used to store the food and water there. And whenever it is necessary, whenever they need to eat or they feel hungry, that fat from there, it comes and it fulfill the stomach. Then it has long legs and padded feet. You can see the padded feet on your book itself. It is given there. That padded feet helps to walk easily on sand, because sand is very hot, and if we walk on sand, it will burn our foot. So therefore, they have this padded, specially God-gifted padded feet, which helps them to walk on the sand easily. So these are some of the conditions for which the camel is called the sheep of the desert. Now let us talk about the people, how they survive in the desert area and what kind of people are they. So water scarcity is a major problem in the Thar Desert. This is a very universal truth, you can say, because this area is totally and completely full of sand and it is very hot. Therefore, water scarcity is a problem, a major problem. And therefore, people cannot stay at one place. They have to move from one place to another in search of food and water. If there is no water, plants cannot grow, and therefore people are not going to get the food. So they had to move from one place to another in search of food and water. And these people, this particular kind of people who move from one place to another, are called nomads. Nomads are the people who they move in group. They move in group from one place to another along with their sheep, goats, and whatever cattle they have. Now, the nomads of the Thar Desert are called Banjaras. So I know you have heard about Banjaras. The word is familiar. You have heard it somewhere. This Banjaras, we call it as Banjaras of Rajasthan, because this is an Indian word. But altogether, as in the English form, we used to say it as nomads, but in Indian version we call as Banjaras. Now, due to lack of water, very few people grow crops, which is very truth, because if there is no water, cultivation will be also very less. People cultivate only jowar, bajra and maize as they need less water. Now you can see here the plants that grow in the desert, they also need very less water, and people also cultivate only those kind of crops which need less water like jowar, bajra, maize, etc. And they rear goats, sheep and camel in large number, because they get milk from them, and they can get wool from them, from the sheep. There are certain other things they get from them, like meat as well. So most of the people, they rear goats, sheep and camels in the Thar desert. Now here is the picture of a woman and a man. These are the nomads of the Thar desert, that means the Banjaras, and these are their original clothes, the traditional clothes and culture. You can see the woman wearing colorful accessories, jewelries with the colorful clothes, and the man, which I have already mentioned in the first class, that men are, you will be seeing the man wearing always a pagri on their head, and their clothes are this kind of things. Okay, so these are some of the pictures of the Banjaras. You can find more if you search it in the Google. Then what kind of food they eat? Now we have already came to know that as they cultivate the crops which need less water like jowar, bajra. So here you can see these pictures are already in your book, a field of bajra grains and bajre ki roti. The food eaten in the Thar desert is influenced by the kind of crops grown in this region. Bajre ki roti is popular because a lot of bajra is grown here. So when you go to different states, according to their crops, that region, particularly suppose in Assam, we have the common food, staple food, rice, because rice is grown here because the climatic condition is suitable for the rice and tea. But if you go to Rajasthan, there is no rainfall. If you compare it to Assam, we receive a lot of rainfall. We have a monsoon season as well, but in Rajasthan they does not receive any rainfall. Therefore, this bajra, they will eat only those kind of food which they can grow there. For example, the bajra ki roti, because bajra is grown in a very huge quantity there. So bajra ki roti is a very famous thing that you're going to eat when you visit Rajasthan. Then we have the scenic beauty. What are the people do there? Many people living in this region also serves as tourist guides. So most of the people, they serve as tourist guides there, and this is because the region attracts many tourists who come to visit its fort and scenic beauty. If you have noticed, this Rajasthan has many royal forts like Chittorgarh Fort, Mehrangarh Fort, Hawa Mahal. Lots of forts can be found in Rajasthan, and it has a very scenic beauty, means very beautiful scenery. So when there is scenery and forts to be beautiful forts, it attracts a lot of people from outside. So most of the people, their occupation is tourist, or they serve as a tourist guides, or they have some holidays or traveling or transportation charges which are related to the tourist section. So this is how they live their livelihood in this kind of region, especially in Thar desert. Now let us come to the workbook. So we have question number 14. Why is water scarce in the desert? How has scarcity of water affected the food habits of people in the desert? Explain with examples. Now here the answer is that Thar desert receives very little or no rain. Due to lack of water, people only cultivate those crops which need less water. Now which are the crops? Jowar, bajra, etc. For example, bajra ki roti is a popular item because a lot of bajra is grown here. So this is the answer for the question number 14. Then we come to the multiple choice question. Which of the following animals is not found in the Thar desert? Remember, which of the following animal is not found in the Thar desert? A is the black bug, B the snakes which are very popular in the Thar desert, C elephant, and D the lizards. So black bug, snake and lizards are very common in the Thar desert, but elephant is not found in the Thar desert. Therefore, C is the correct answer. Then the next question is, which of the following occupations is common in the Great Indian Desert? Tourist guide, fishing, jute weaving, salt making. Fishing, because fishing needs water, it's impossible because desert area does not have any water sources. Jute weaving, jutes are grown on water, so it is impossible, which is incorrect. And salt making is also incorrect. Therefore, tourist guide is the correct answer for the occupation which is common in the Great Indian Desert. Now let us come to the competency based question. Here is your first question. You are visiting Rajasthan and mesmerized by its beauty of sand on one side and monuments and scenic nature on the other. Can you mention the two sides of the Great Indian Desert? Name them. So we have already discussed this many times, that the one part of the Rajasthan is covered with sand and the other part has some trees, and it is most people live there. So you have to mention the two sides. What are those sides? And you have to name them. Which part is which one? Then the next question is, camel is known as the sheep of the desert. Elaborate. So we have discussed about camels. So you have to write the answer with 4 lines. 4 points you have to mention why camel is known as the sheep of the desert. You can take the help of from other books as well. Not only from your book, but from your own words. You can, if you know anything about camel, put your knowledge here. Any 4 points you have to mention it in this answer. So this is it for today's class. Here I wrap up my class. Thank you.